part 3. I'm in conversation here with Dr. Sumit Kasaka, and we're talking all things Ayurveda, and he's giving some wonderful insights. So, welcome. Today I want to kickstart with a question from my friend who's an Ayurvedic practitioner, and he's also the founder of an organic tea company, Pucker Teas here. They use organic herbs. And he asks, with your experience in sustainable harvesting, how do you think Ayurvedic herbal supply can become sustainable with so many herbs that are vital to Ayurveda, such as Ashoka and Jatamansi and Guggul being endangered? How can the Ayurvedic community in India address this?
I have been working in biodiversity for a long period of time, and I'll say I have my own derivations of it. So without creating any controversy, I'll just put my vision out of it. See, for me, I personally feel that harvesting herbs on a large scale do no good, because the problem with modern Ayurveda is that we are trying to replace chemicals with herbals. We are not using ashwagandha as the way it has to be used. We are using it because it is an immunity promoter, adaptogen, something on the base of nutrition or something like that. And just because it is herbal, so it is fine. See, Vedic sciences do not make differences between chemical and herbal. Ayurveda has used plants, it has used animal products, it has also used metals, it has used everything under the sun. Why? Because it says whatever is formed in this entire cosmos, I'm not talking about earth, is made up of 5 elements or 3 doshas, whatever you say. So it is wrong to believe that if tulsi can affect your dosha, paracetamol won't affect, or acetaminophen won't affect, or whatever the chemical you might say. So that one thing has to change. Now, second part which it comes is to sustainable harvesting. I'll give a very simple example here, is that cannabis, a plant, marijuana, what we say, is grown all over the world. Nowadays, people grow it in California. In our country, it grows therefore it is called as a weed, because in our country, it grows as a weed. So it is grown in Mumbai, you can grow it in Punjab. But why people go to Himachal? Why people go to that Malana Valley to get cannabis, that hashish from there? Why is it considered superior? The quotient here is chemotype. Chemotype is when a plant grows in a particular habitat with the surrounding plants providing it fuel, then it gives you that kind of a property. And that is the reason Ayurveda has decoded these things. It has given synonyms to one plant. For example, if there is a plant called Ashoka. So Ashoka is also found in Ceylon, but there are different species of Ashoka. That is a taxonomic correlation. But in Ayurveda, they have said this is a plant. It is a syndrome. This is how its properties reflect. And from where this plant was used or its subtypes were used, we have given it synonyms. So one plant might have many synonyms, like Guduchi might have Amruta, Amrutvalli says that. So it is not necessary they are talking about the same plant. It could be different species in different geographical locations got together under one heading because it is the different exhibitions of the same plant. So we have to respect that biodiversity. So coming back, what we do is that in earlier times in India, forests were divided into 3 parts. Forests were called as Rai. So there was a Gram Rai, where villagers forest. There was a Vana Rai, animals forest. And there was a Dev Rai. Dev Rai means this part of the forest was only accessed by the priest. So there was a part of Gram Rai where villagers used to go and bring their wood, collect whatever they used to do. There was a Vana Rai where animals used to graze, wild animals. So people never used to go and do any stuff there. And there was a Dev Rai. Dev Rai means a special place where only the priest went. Now what this did, it prevented biodiversity. It created sustainability. Villagers only took what they wanted. They did not convert forests to farms. Now what is happening is that a lot of people say that, we should not harm animals. We should grow vegetables. But you cannot do farming without killing forest, because farming is a violent activity. You have to graze on forest to create farms. And once you create farms, what happens? The biodiversity is lost. Invasive species set in. A
Yes.
lot of time people say, okay, this is a very endangered plant, can we grow it? If you take one plant which is rare in one part of the forest or one part of a geographical location, and you take that plant and you say, I'll grow it in my space. I have got a land of 2 acres, 3 acres. You will see that plant will grow as invasive that it will even cover all the forest and nothing will grow. It has happened. People have to see. And therefore, Ayurveda has always said that this homeostasis, this barter system should be maintained. So the ideal thing is that the people who stay in the forest, you have to tell them that, okay, we are going to give you double money, but you only take 50% of the plants for selling so that the 50% grow. The biodiversity is not. There are certain plants which will only grow if the nitrogen fixation occurs, if a particular animal goes and urinates there, particular animal goes and shits over it. There are a lot of certain trees where a particular bird, if it visits, only then and through its fecus, if it goes down, the plants will pollinate. There are night pollinated plants. So, this biodiversity can only be maintained if this rice system, which was mentioned in Vriksha Ayurveda, in Ayurveda. And therefore, again, I say why these algorithms were given. Because these were initial environmental sciences. It told us how to sustain with environment, be healthy, not only in the past, but also in the coming era where humans will be replaced by machines. So even there, these algorithms can be used. But only thing, our approach towards them have become very black and white. We have said that, okay, let us grow herbals. And the question is very good, how is it sustainable? Second point is that because the laws of Ayurveda, the properties of Ayurveda are universal, you do not require to use herbs from India. Not all plants mentioned in Ayurveda were mentioned from first. Plants like choke chini, plants like papaya are not mentioned in Ayurveda. They have been naturalized. Chili was not mentioned in Ayurveda because chili came to India with the Portuguese. There was no chili in India. If you read the book N. Akbari, where Akbar's Dasta, he had a kitchen diary. He, in place of chili, used to use black pepper. So a lot of spices have also come here and their properties have been catalogued in Ayurveda. How did we know this? So that gives us the importance that if foreign plants can be imbibed on Ayurvedic principles, people outside India can take the same principle and use the plants which are there in their own backyard and use it with Ayurvedic principles. So that can also reduce the stress on this kind of a plants. But the problem is happening is that we have given so much mystical importance to entities that this thing has become like a pandemic. It's very difficult to restore it.
Yeah, fascinating. I've been taught that mixing dairy and meat or dairy and fish is a faulty food combination. Does this include all dairy? And what about the use of yogurt, for example, as a marinade to tenderize meat? Is that still seen as a faulty food combination, or the fact that it homogenizes, or what's your take on that, dairy and meat?
Dairy is not good. Dairy is a very modern term. There is nothing called as dairy. In Ayurveda, there are vargas. There is Dugdha Varga, there is Gruta Varga, there is Mutra Varga. And everybody has different properties. If you go to cow's milk, it is different from buffalo's milk. Buffalo's milk is different from goat's milk. In tuberculosis, only goat's milk is advised. In certain places, buffalo's milk is advised. So this is what I said in certain times, and mixing two things like eating fish with milk may cause you problem. So which is right in a sense. Let us say today I am on milk. I'm drinking milk in the morning. And if I eat fish in the evening or even meat in the evening, which has got spices, it will cause me a problem. But on that day, after that digestion is occurred, if I eat food and don't drink milk, it is not going to cause me a problem. It's the same way, if you drink milk and if you eat fruit, it is going to cause you a problem. A lot of people say mixing milk fruit is not required. But if you drink milk in the morning and you eat fruit in the evening, also it's still going to cause you a problem. If that milk is not properly digested or homogenized into your system, because that time, that conversion, it is a mathematics. Now it is a little bit technical thing, so I don't want to go into it. But that is what is meant, that you have to avoid these combinations. But samsarga and sanskrita, when you are transforming something into a new product, you can use anything. Like for example, rice is cooked in milk most of the times to prepare a kheer. Or there are certain times that, as I told about, let us come about yogurt. And then Ajay said that curd, sorry, I'm not using the word yogurt, because curd, dadi, what we said, is a very special process to make. Nowadays, nobody makes dadi, everybody makes yogurt. So when you say dadi, which has to be prepared by boiling down milk slowly, in Nepal, some people do it still now. It is a very tedious process. That dadi which comes, which is again, there is two types of dadi. One is sweet, one is sour. So when you make it instantly, it is sweet. It is not causing you a problem. If that you use it and eat it with little bit this, it is not going to cause that much problem. The sour dadi, if you eat, it might cause you problem. That the sour dadi, little bit sweet and little bit sour, if you put it with meat and you marinate it, that sourness of it is going to help you to break down the tissue. And that is the reason why, if you see a lot of time, people who prepare meat, especially the lamb meat or some meat, they always marinate with dadi. So what happens once you do that? It becomes homogenized. When you cook it, it is gone. That agni kills it. So we have to understand that when it is said, do not eat fish with milk, it is like you're eating fish and you're drinking milk over it. Do not combine this and this. But that has to be taken in a very straight value if you're keeping on doing it. Like if you drink fruit and milk, then you're going to get problems. If you eat curd at night, your eyesight is going to go down. So these things are given because they have understood what kind of a problem it causes on the micro levels. But again, the question happens, are you making real curd?
I've recently just been, not recently, for a couple of years now, I've recently just been so put off by our farming practices and milk, and the way you have milk, it's sweet and it's natural, but we force our cows to be pregnant and hormones. Sometimes they even have carnivorous food and they're put in a cage, and the stress involved, that's obviously, and it's lost all its dwanda, it's all lost all its natural. And so and then I was drinking almond milk, but then of course now I know that in California and it's destroyed, that takes up too much. So I'm drinking oat milk. Do you advise any other types of milk? I've heard that hazelnuts is now a new type of milk, and maybe rice milk isn't quite as good. But in the UK, we're kind of big alternative milk drinkers, I guess. So not really.
As I said that. So see, that is like, if you take rice milk, you can also take out coconut milk. But as I said, they are not milk.
No.
When we talk about Ayurveda, I'm only talking from Ayurvedic principles point of view. I'm not talking about a substitute. A lot of people take this milk because they like the idea of milk, but they don't want to, their issues are more functional, how with the way animals are treated, and I respect it. For me in India also, when the kind of milk we drink is A2 milk. Now, A2, as you know, is not a special milk. It is just because the Indian cow has not mutated. So its milk is same as the mother's milk. But which cow? Even if it is an Indian cow, but if it is kept in captivity, it is not going to give that milk. So this A2 milk, now there is a big, after this government has come, there is a big emphasis on this kind of a milk, where people are opening up goshalas, where cows are free to move, free to graze. So they get more milk. And therefore, in the Shastras, it was written that because the cow has 5 udders, it's called dohan. 3 are for the calf. 2 have to be taken out. If they don't take out, then the cow develops a tumor. So this is not a justification of why you should have milk, but this is how rearing of cows became more important, because it gave milk, it gave fuel in terms of cow dung, in terms of cow urine, gave a pesticide, domestication of this. So this kind of a milk, if you get, it is equivalent to food. Again, this kind of a milk should be unpasteurized and unhomogenized. So we get it fresh. You have to boil it and cool down only once. You cannot keep on boiling it. After that, you can warm it, but you cannot boil it. In which vessel also you boil it is important. So when you follow this milk will give you optimum qualities. Now you'll say, I'm just having milk because it is sweet. It is whatever the Ayurveda properties is not going to give you. when you're using alternatives, I think you have to take those alternatives on those face values. They are never going to be equal to milk. They might give you sensory properties as milk, like an almond milk, hazelnut milk, soy milk. You will feel morally good that I have not done any harm. I am not buying something. And that is totally right. I'm not saying that is wrong, but that has got nothing to do with Ayurveda. That has got nothing to do with those principles you're trying to correlate. This is a stance which you have taken. This is a substitute which you have used. Like a lot of people use this impossible burger. They don't want that, so they use this plant-based, soy-based patty, which tastes like meat into your system. They are going to cause you more same problems as steak. The only question here is that you are not eating that steak because it is killing some animal, and that is perfectly acceptable. So Vedic sciences have got nothing to do with your moral and social issues. The Vedic rites have got to do. Therefore, in Vedas, it is said there is a Jnana Kand, Karma Kand, and Upasana Kand. So Karma Kand is the daily rites you do in your society. Morality and everything is approved. The Jnana Kand, which is said, the knowledge, it says that there is nothing called as good and bad. There is nothing called as right and wrong. We all are a part of this nature. No one has told you are the most important species. So transformation occurs at small and large level. So when you start understanding this homeostasis, you will start feeding yourself with bare minimum. When you start understanding the taste, the product won't matter. So tomorrow, if I am getting my Agni from sunlight by doing some breathing exercises, why should I rely on food as the yogis do? But till I am not there, I have to prepare my body to reach there. Mm-hmm. So the whole concept is towards minimalism, where you can sustain with bare minimum. But you cannot do it by thought. You cannot say one day you can get up and say, no, I want to do it. It is going to cause you more problems.
Yeah.
And this kind of trends which have come, they don't adhere with this principle because they appear morally right. We feel they are Ayurvedic. Like somebody, if I prepare a meat preparation and I'll say it is an Ayurvedic preparation, people will say, okay, where in Ayurveda meat is given. But Ayurveda has described properties of even lion meat, dog meat. That doesn't mean you have to go and eat it. But there are communities who eat it, and that's very fine. Mm-hmm. We are not judging whether they are right or wrong. We are just looking at the dynamics that they are eating it, they are sustaining it, and they are much healthier. That doesn't mean you have to go and eat it, but you have to understand the logic behind it. And that is where my quotient lies with all these kind of substitutes of soy milk. You have to take it on its face value. If you're taking almond milk, you take it for its properties and what it is giving you. But if you're taking it as a substitute for milk, then rather not have it, because it is not going to give you any benefit.
Well, Ayurveda, it sees everything as potential medicine. And I'm sure that people would love to know that you've written this book on single malt whiskey, and you have an Ayurveda doctor's perspective on it. I'd love to hear it. I mean, I certainly know that people will, I certainly have Scottish friends who substitute breakfast milk for whiskey, but maybe on a cold mountaintop, that can be seen as a medicine.
So I have a book on it, and I have few videos, and I've also done a talk on it, which I'll be publishing on my channel. But the crux of it is that the same question what I was telling you, that in Ayurveda, if you understand the algorithms and the principles, nothing is bad. You can use anything for your benefit. And why single malt whiskey is the way it is prepared, why it is more medicinal, because single malt whiskey is just more than alcohol. It is the derivative of an oak, of a plant. And if you drink it at a particular time, it is not you can drink it throughout the day. I've explained, if you drink it at a particular time, like let us say you eat your meals by 6, and after 2 hours you drink it, till the first stage of alcoholism, whatever the signs are, it will give you its digestive properties. It will open up your brain. It won't give you much problems. And there have been certain experiments I have done in my clinical practice with people who are on the last stage, and they said that if your medicine works, it is fine. But if it doesn't work, can I at least go out with a drink? So that time it adhered to me that, okay, why not, if they are drinking, why not use the properties mentioned in Ayurveda in a very algorithmic way, so that they can even enjoy the drink. It satiates their mind, and it also acts as medicine. So this concept started from there. And there we started elaborating on Ayurveda, why single malt whiskey and why not any other kind of alcohol. So why Puranman? Puranman means matured alcohol. Then, just to not be biased, we looked up at certain studies done on people, not on rats, in Scotland, in other parts, which they have shown how, pathologically also single malt whiskey increases. Then we have studies from ethnomedicine, ethnobotany of Scotland, where the minor community used to use it. It was a part of their birthing community. Because you must be knowing the process of kneading. When the child is born, they shape the nose in Scotland. So they used to use whiskey. So this all concepts and the algorithmic manner in which Ayurveda has described alcohols, already to tough alcohols, how they can be used. This all concepts tell you that there is nothing under the sun which you cannot use for your benefit if you know its time, its proportion, and the entire homeostasis you create to assimilate it. So it's not just that you drink a whiskey, you will be fine. Even to drink that whiskey in that entire day before you drink it, you have to prepare your body to have its benefits and also stay away from its ill effects. So the same whiskey, alcohol which causes liver cirrhosis, with the same whiskey, liver cirrhosis also gets. And this is not what I am saying. Studies have been done on it. But if you say, okay, single malt whiskey reverses cirrhosis, single malt whiskey reduces gout, and you drink it, no. Again, if you drink it with wrong perceptions, it is going to cause you problem. A lot of time we say that when we drink the whiskey, a lot of people drink and have a drink with some food. See, if that drink is not going to cause you a problem, the food is going to cause you a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned certain things that, when you drink whiskey, drink it alone. Do not mix it with anything. Do not have any food with it. You have done your dinner by 6, finished. As the old Scots used to do. After they had an early dinner, they used to go by the fireplace in the night, they used to have a drink. Depending upon whatever geographical conditions they were.
Yes.
So in that way was the perception behind writing that book, because I said that if I have to bring forth this kind of an algorithmic manner in front of people, then we have to start with something radical. Otherwise alcohol and Ayurveda, they are like two stepping stones. You could go wrong. People could curse you saying that how can you promote alcohol? It is not mentioned in Ayurveda. But that is what was my purpose behind it. It was a well-researched subject over 4 years. And eventually I have given it myself a go. I have experimented with a lot of people, and I'm very happy to say that whatever is mentioned in Ayurveda, the principles hold true for it over a period of time.
Fascinating. Yeah. And so finally, the Ayurveda Foundation course that you teach online, is that open for everyone? Does it cover the Vedic cooking algorithms? Are there any restrictions as to who can apply? Where can people find out more about your course?
Ayurveda course, which is there, it is a course for people to understand Ayurvedic concepts from the way I am explaining, to simplify it. The basis behind it was that when I graduated, I made no sense of Ayurveda, because I studied Ayurveda in one of the best colleges in India. But to be quite honest, I could not make a head or tail out of what was taught, because it was very difficult to assess, because Sanskrit was not a first language for me. The way it was taught in a syllabus manner, I'm not saying it is right or wrong. I'm not the one to comment, because to be quite frank, I was very disillusioned. But because I was a little bit from technology, and I could, I used to do computer programming earlier, I could understand this things. See, when you are into programming, you try to simplify things. So you try to understand, okay, I don't want to create a mess. What is the smallest thing I can know from which I can get a concept? So that thing always stayed with me. At that time, books were not easily available. Teachers were not easily available. There was no internet at that time. So I started making small presentation. My first video was Introduction to Upanishad, which really caught off. Then after that, I started making small videos on origin of Ayurveda, history of Ayurveda. Eventually, when I got a considerable videos, one of my friends who that time used to see my videos, she told me that, why don't you convert it into an online course? And that is how I converted into an online course, like a video game, structured wise, in 2009. It was very ahead of time. I put my videos on YouTube because I did not have that much kind of a money on my server to host the bandwidth. So it was not to monetize it, it was just put on YouTube because I could embed it. And it ran on its own for almost like till this year. It was free. It was very open, and eventually now it got into a paid platform because it is more refined and in a much better way. But the whole concept of those is that it is not an easy course. I say it was a free course, it is basic course, but people manage to get into it is to find there's a lot of data in it, because you're asking these questions and it will reach to a lot of people. So it is for those people who want to understand what Ayurveda offers on a very larger scale, and not just have a constructive view of Ayurveda as a massage science, dosha science, dhatu science. So it explains to you concepts of tridosha, dhatu on a very algorithmic way, where you can make sense of it little bit. It is for those people who do not want to spend copious amount of money and get into a course, and then they feel that, okay, we have paid so much, so now we need to complete it. So it is a very slow pace on your this going course. In 3 months you have to complete it. You can complete it, and after that you'll get a very sense of what exactly Ayurveda entails, and it will help you to make informed decisions for your higher education. So that course is for them. Of course, the Ayurvedic cooking is not included because it is a completely different subject. And all the videos which are there in those courses are free to watch on my YouTube channel. Only in the course they appear in a very structured form, so you make a sense of it. As I said, the algorithm. Now they are scattered, so you can watch any video at a time, but you will understand that subject. But in the course, when you take that course, you will understand the correlation of each subject with the previous one in a very structured manner. And there, eventually, after that course is over, you might be able to make a decision on which stream you want to begin. And very well, why we are having this discussion. Now that I'm telling you the same algorithms which probably you might have studied, but in a different way. Now you understand, okay, how these things works. So that course was always only meant for those people like me, little bit less intelligent people like me, who could not grasp the studies, who want to just, pass out and, just make a sense of Ayurveda. So that course was created for people like me, because I did not made a head or tail when I was studying. And I hope it will help people around the world, who want to make a little bit sense of Ayurveda, and it is not, and they can take it up. Yeah.
It really helped me when I was studying for my diploma. There was and then I watched some of your videos, and it just, everything came to life and it made sense. And so I would highly recommend you check out Dr. Sumit Kasarkar on YouTube, on his channels. And thank you so much for your incredible insights and your knowledge. And let's hope to see each other again soon.